is go to the internet and look up Dr. Seneff.
Can you spell that?
It's Seneneff, I think.
Spell it again.
Seneff, S as in Sam, E-N as in Nancy, E-F as in Frank, Seneff, Dr. Seneff.
So what the glyphosate is doing, the Roundup, as we most of it commonly know it, is it's blocking the minerals from being absorbed. So when you eat those foods, it's blocking your minerals that you intake from being absorbed.
And there's another problem, is that there are actually plants, some of the plants that you eat actually produce glyphosate, okay?
Really?
And when you, yes, they're genetically modified, so they actually produce glyphosate. And it's the genetic modification involves a sequence of amino acids. It's like a code. And so when bacteria take in that code, that sequence, then the bacteria actually start to produce glyphosate too. So now we can take a biopsy of someone's intestines who's eaten a lot of genetically modified food, and we can actually see that the bacteria are producing glyphosate. So you're like a bacterial glyphosate factory in your intestines, which is why everyone should be taking probiotics, but that's another lecture. Okay. So all of these are really necessary to obtain your optimum health. Okay? So you want to eat lots of fruits and vegetables and just a little bit of meat, right? So that's a really wise thing to do. It's a word of wisdom that you should do these things, and you will be able to do a lot of other things, like run really, really far distances and make and not be tired. Yeah, some of you must have read that as well. So you will notice changes in the body when you do this. Okay? So let's talk about this patient that we saw. Oh, this is talking about Chinese medicine. So Chinese medicine is one of the oldest forms of medicine on the planet. It's thousands and thousands of years old. And Chinese medicine really is the foundation to a lot of the other therapies that we use, right? So who does the zone reflexology? Okay. Does anyone do like hand reflexology? Okay, yeah. And who does, what other Chinese? Anyone do cupping?
Well, you see coming on a lot of the athletes like Michael Phelps and so on and so forth.
Yeah, we use our lights.
And use lights. So all of these things come from Chinese medicine, and actually the Chinese use lights a lot as well in their treatment. So, do you have anything to say about Chinese medicine?
Well, I think how I would describe it is there are multiple channels that run through your body, as you know, right? And because I am a physical medicine rehab physician, you will be able to correlate that a lot of the nerves, right, the way the nerve and the blood vessels run, it correlates with the major meridians of the Chinese channels.
So the meridians are these lines of energy that run throughout the body. Now, of course, in the West, we've been very reluctant to accept this concept. But in China, do you know in China they do heart surgery without anesthesia? They only use acupuncture. Did you know that? They do brain surgeries very commonly without any anesthesia. They do surgeries on infants without anesthesia, because when you give anesthesia to an infant, it's really dangerous. But they use acupuncture and the infant doesn't feel pain. So this is a very old and advanced form of medicine, of holistic medicine. So most of the Chinese doctors in China, they don't even have shoes, right? So that's why they call them the barefoot doctors, right? You know, and most of them are really old.
I think prior to the communist revolution, they were all barefoot doctors. My parents, my father had been one, and they were sent out to the community to do preventive medicine. And so, because they are also barefoot, because they had to walk a lot to visit people's homes and things like that. And there was a lot of house-to-house therapy, so that was part of it as well. And the system has changed now, but you know, it's still very relevant, because right now the one in Beijing, the University of Beijing, yeah, still practices predominantly, and is trying to bring back Chinese medicine, because it has started to absorb some of the Western medicine techniques as well. Yeah.
So one of the concepts in Chinese medicine is that you want to prevent things. So the doctors would come to your house, they would check up on your family, kind of like your home teachers, right? And they would make sure that the family was doing well. And they would talk to them about, well, what are you eating? What are you putting into your mind? You know, how can you be better? So, and before communism, people in China were really healthy, right? And to a large extent, they still are. So if you want any information about that, Johns Hopkins University did the largest study on diet in the world. It's called the China Study. So you can look up about the China Study and see what they found. So let's just move on. So this is one of my colleagues that I studied with, Dr. Freiman. I worked with her for about 20 years. She talked about what she saw as, she's pretty famous in osteopathy, and she talked about what she saw as physicians, what physicians would do in the future. And she said that physicians in the future would be treating the subtle energies. They would use food as medicine. It would be common for the future to have a room where color is administered in therapeutic doses. So when we're using the Elan therapy, we're administering colored light therapy in therapeutic doses. So that's a really important thing. Light therapy has been shown in over 50 years of independent research worldwide to deliver powerful benefits to living tissues and organisms. So the visible red, blue, and invisible infrared lights have been shown to affect at least 24 positive changes at the cellular level. The light from the diodes has been shown to boost the output of nitric oxide near where the LEDs are placed. The LED therapy increases blood flow in the brain. We can see it on MRI studies. This is not really an alternative therapy, this is state-of-the-art therapy.
And this is state-of-the-art because we know the military uses it. So if any of you have been on a submarine, the submarine actually is underground all the time, and it's a very small space, yeah? And the sailors in the submarine, actually, the US government has a light healing station that uses red and blue lasers to help heal the sailors from all the nicks and scratches they have. So they get to put their hand under it and they see accelerated healing after that.
I have a question. When you use the lights on your clients with the, like children with brain trauma, how long does it take for you to see results? I mean, changes in them?
Generally, we're doing a lot of different things. Okay, so we will see changes usually within 1 or 2 treatments.
Really?
And we can see major changes within 3 weeks. So, yeah, so that's so we use a lot of different things. We use herbs and essential oils and osteopathy, osteopathic manipulation, and acupuncture. And Dr. Chen actually has developed her own form of acupuncture, which we call I Ching acupuncture, which is radically different than most acupuncture, and it gets really quick results. So we're interested in helping people get really good results and quickly.
We do a lot of diet, like nutritional rehabilitation, and what you're seeing the greatest results is when you apply that nutritional rehabilitation with it.
Yeah, so you have to do all these things together. So it's not just one thing. And that's what we notice, and I noticed, it's not just one single treatment. It's you have to combine treatments. You have to treat mind, body, and spirit. And if you do that, you'll get amazing results. So we're going to tell you about this little boy that came to see us. He came from Italy. In Italy, I'm a professor at one of the schools in Bologna, and I teach there usually about every year I go to Bologna. And I have been in Parma, which is another city in Italy, and teaching. And one of the pediatricians had a child who was 7 years old, had never walked, had cerebral palsy or static encephalopathy. That's just the new name for cerebral palsy. And he also had ataxia where he couldn't balance as well. And his speech was not good. He had very low muscle tone. Usually they tell you if you have cerebral palsy and you have low muscle tone, that's not good. Okay? You have hypertonicity, increased muscle tone, you can treat